Taurus, this is your message for July 2020. Did a pre-shuffle, so we're going to get right to the reading. This is your love message. Let's see what your situation is, Taurus. Taurus, you got Temperance. So there is some new sense of balance taking place within your relationship or potential partner, or maybe your own love. Well, cards just popping out. Your partner is the Knight of Cups reversed. So maybe your partner was kind of like this knight in shining armor, bringing a lot to the table before, and you weren't able to reciprocate, and maybe they're backing off. And I don't think that you're necessarily not okay with that. Like, you kind of feel relieved because like you might have felt guilty in the past. Like they kept bringing this knight in shining armor energy to the table, and you're like, I really can't live up to that because I have something else going on. So there's a little bit, or maybe you're taking the role of that from now on. There's a shift taking place. There's a shift taking place that is creating more balance. Let's see where you're at, Taurus. You have the High Priestess reversed. So I think that you're a little bit unclear as to what's going down. Your partner has backed off, and like you might be a little bit concerned that this means that they're not as into the relationship. And I don't think it's that. I think that they're just they might be a little bit like, they don't necessarily want to keep putting all this energy into something when they don't feel they're receiving it back. So, and that's concerning to you. Let's see what your desires are, Taurus. You got Death reversed. So you don't want things to change necessarily. Like I said earlier that, you might have been okay with them backing off, but you're realizing that they were giving so much, and you got used to that. And while you felt guilty about it because you couldn't give back, and then they backed off, and like you had mixed feelings about it. Like, okay, well, I'm glad because I'm not able to reciprocate, but at the same time, I kind of miss everything that they were bringing. And it's like, kind of a bummer. So let's see what their desires are. They got the Wheel of Fortune. So like in their perfect worlds, they would have continued giving, and then you would have came to the table and give just as much. Just give, but like life isn't like that. You can't always both necessarily bring everything into the relationship. Like, it's important to maintain your own personal lives in order to be the people you need to be for each other. But I think they don't, they want happiness. They want everything. I think you both do. You both want it all to work out, but you're having a little trouble seeing eye to eye right now. Let's see what your challenges are, Taurus. You got the Nine of Wands in reverse. So there's like some paranoia here. Definitely some paranoia, like because you were so used to them giving, and then they stopped. And at first you were like, okay, no big deal. But then the doubt crept in, and you felt like, well, but I was used to this, and now the doubt's creeping in, and you're feeling like maybe they just don't want to be in it anymore. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. Let's see what their challenges are. Cards popping out. They got the Eight of Wands in reverse. They just don't know where to go from here. They backed off because they felt they had to. Like, I think maybe even almost they didn't want to seem like, it's kind of this like balancing act. They didn't want to put everything into it only to be hurt. And now they backed off a little bit, and they don't know where to go from here. They don't know what the right move is. I think that you both want to be with each other, and there's not communication taking place. So they're not sure where to go. Neither of you are kind of sure where to go from here in terms of what you're putting into the relationship. But you do both want to be together. So let's see what your outcome is. You have the Three of Wands. So you're going to move forward with your plans. You had plans, and that's why you weren't necessarily bringing what they were bringing to the table. And you're going to go forward with them regardless. And I think that you have to be, if you really care about, this person and what's going on with this relationship, you have to make sure that, in doing so, that you're still communicating with them clearly and being like, and make sure you're on the same page in terms of what you want from this connection. Let's see what their outcome is. 10 of Cups. So I think once you finally communicate and are open about like, look, it's not that I was not bringing everything to the table because I didn't want to be with you. I do want to be with you. Let's clear the air. Let's make sure that we are clear of each other's expectations. That's going to be Nine of Cups is usually wish fulfillment, but that's going to be happily ever after for them. It's going to work out. They're going to be fine with that. And I think once they feel comfortable with that and they realize, I think one of the reasons they backed off is because they just didn't want to be too overbearing. And once they realize that you're okay with them bringing, the only issue you have is like you don't want to have to feel guilty. So once they realize that it's okay, that's like, it's going to be a huge relief. Like if you communicate with them, like, no, look, I do want this connection. I have these other things going on, but like, I do want this connection. And, it never bothered me that you were bringing all this to the table. I want you to, if you want to continue to do that, that's cool. It will be a huge relief for them. Let's get a little bit more clarification on the outcome from the Return of Spirit Oracle deck. For Taurus, popping out right order. Right order. I can take a guess as to what I feel that this means, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the guidebook just to make sure that you are all receiving the correct message today. Eventually, everything finds its right order and right place and proper order in life. This card is about creating proper order in your physical environment. The world around us has a very strong effect on our emotional and energetic well-being. Often our inner environment is symbolically reflected through our outer environment. Yeah. It's time to put things in their proper place and create right order in your physical world. Roll up your sleeves and take a weekend to begin cleaning out the closets. Start to sort what you would like to keep and what needs to go. Take care of any paperwork, banking, or bookkeeping that you may have been putting off for later. Okay. So I think that maybe you could actually bring more to this connection than you feel you can't at the moment. But if you explain that, if you take the time, if you take however much time you need to get your own affairs in order and organize yourself, you will find that it actually opens up a lot more time to bring stuff to the connection. And that way, when this other person brings it, you won't feel the guilt that you've been feeling, and there can be more of that balance, more of that reciprocity that we started off with in the beginning with Temperance, okay? So I hope that it all works out for you, Taurus, and remember, the choices are up to you, and thanks for listening.